What is going on with Trump and Venezuela? What is the deal with the killing of people in boats in the Caribbean? Hello, I'm Ulf Erlingsson. I've studied the case of Venezuela for the better part of 2 decades, and mostly in Spanish. I've been publishing on my other channel, Operación Libertad Venezuela. And I have been staying pretty quiet about this because I'm busy with a new exciting project, Homero's World, a third channel I have. But back to the topic. As an activist, I've been participating and been in close contact with the Venezuelan resistance for many years to see what's going on there and to learn from the inside how it works to defend democracy. Because Venezuela was a democracy that got destroyed when they elected Hugo Chavez, and who took office in 1999 and destroyed democracy from within. And he did that, I have learned through these years of studying it, in collaboration with international organized crime. The military drug cartel in Venezuela, El Cartel de los Soles. I haven't just studied it from a distance. I've also been helping people on the border in Colombia, Venezuelan refugees. And when I was down to follow up on that in 2023, I was kidnapped by the ELN narco-terrorist guerrilla and taken to Venezuela and interrogated by people within this, connected to the regime and the drug cartel. Also, I have been helping the resistance in intelligence operations. And that's why I'm a little bit not very excited about what's going on now, even though I really wish the narco regime of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela to fall and for the people to be able to have their duly elected president Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia installed as president and the country return to democracy, so that all these refugees who have fled the country can return home. Nothing would help more with the situation, because Venezuelans are the biggest group of refugees in the world now, possibly next after Syrians. But at the present, the biggest group of refugee seekers here in Europe are Venezuelans. It's incredible. So the situation with the democracy is real. It's been destroyed. The refugee crisis is real. The narco-terrorism is real. Never believe anybody who claims that Maduro is not a drug trafficker. That is a flat-out lie. He is a drug trafficker. But the one who is really controlling the Cartel de los Soles is Diosdado Cabello. Now, so do I believe that Trump is serious? Well, there are, let me take just 3 things that make me doubt seriously the intentions of Donald Trump. First of all, the fact that they have painted out so much Tren de Aragua. They've mentioned it like a trillion times, Tren de Aragua. But Tren de Aragua, yes, it's a criminal organization, it's born in the prisons and so, but let me say instead that Tren de Aragua is not an ally of ELN, the narco-terrorist guerrilla that kidnapped me. And who is it who is controlling the cultivation of coca? It's ELN. It's not Tren de Aragua. It's ELN. And why doesn't Trump mention them? That is the first thing that rings a bell up here, that something is not right here. And then there are 2 things that I know thanks to our involvement in intelligence operation. And I'm using the royal we here. The first is when we helped to extradite, better said, extradite, what is the English word? Bueno, to bring out of the country a bodyguard of Diosdado Cabello. A bodyguard in the inner circle of the drug king himself. Not just anybody high up in the organization, but the top, the equivalent of Pablo Escobar. So Diosdado Cabello is the Pablo Escobar of our times. Remember, Pablo Escobar wanted to take control of the government. They managed to do that in Venezuela. Maduro is the caretaker of the government, and Diosdado Cabello is the one organizing the drug trafficking. And occasionally they get in a little bit of disagreement, as allies do. So anyway, this bodyguard, his name is, let me see if I remember it. I know I don't remember it, but I'll put it here. We had to take him out because his boss had ordered him murdered. He worked in a group of bodyguards who were on vacation, and all the others fell victim to accidents, which he obviously recognized as the method that his boss uses to get rid of people he doesn't like. So they were killed. And at that time, he said, no, I'm going into hiding. And they said, oh, come and work, come back to work. He stayed in hiding. He contacted the resistance, and they contacted me. The one he contacted in the resistance contacted me, and I can tell the name now, Angel Ochoa, because I know that Diosdado Cabello knows that it was he. And I contacted the Americans, and they would not help in any way whatsoever to get out of the country this bodyguard who had such incriminating evidence against the drug cartel. And it was a gold mine of information, and the Americans would not lift a finger to get a hold of it. So through my NGO, I was the one who financed the extraction of the bodyguard of the drug kingpin, the king, better said, not the kingpin, the drug lord himself. And he was extradited with his family, wife, daughter, and also his mother and mother-in-law we had to take out of the country. And they were smuggled on land through Venezuela, over the border. They had to wait several days because the guard, Diosdado, had put up so much security at the border so that it was too dangerous to go out. So they had to wait for days until the security dropped down, and then they took him out. This is new information that has never been said in public before, and I didn't even say it to the ELN kidnappers when they interrogated about me. So this is brand new information. And then they took him by land, bus, to Lima, Peru, because obviously he couldn't fly. And Colombian police helped. Honor and glory to them. And then he was kept in Lima. And the reason we wanted to hand him over to DEA and FBI and so, but we couldn't, because guess what? There was a Trump government shutdown. Mind blown. So we had to keep him in hiding, and there was a price for his head of $500,000, if I'm not mistaken. And they were like 1 or 2 days behind him all the time. When he moved from one house to the other, they would come within 2 days, knocking on the door, asking if he was there. But after the government shutdown ended, I think it lasted for 6 weeks or something, we were able to, or I was able to contact a person who put me in contact with the head of security and told me what to say, what to go to the embassy and what to say. And so Angel could go to the embassy, say the right words, and get in contact. And eventually the Americans picked him up and took him to the United States, where he was a key witness. And after that, only after that, did the Department of Justice issue the arrest warrant against Diosdado Cabello. So we were key in getting that Today the reward is $15 million, if I'm not mistaken. But they have raised it for, or maybe it's 25, I don't remember. But they raised it twice for Maduro. That was another piece of intelligence information I also was involved in handing over to the Americans. So I've been involved at the core of intelligence gathering in Venezuela, and therefore I know that the Americans are not lifting a finger to do anything. So there was something else. We got them this intelligence, safe houses, actionable intelligence when Trump was president last time. And you know what they did with the information? Did they try to take them out? No. They took the information and leaked it to bloggers and YouTubers and things like that, TikTok, Instagram. That's what they did with the information. The information that we had paid with risk of life, a lot of money, and they took that information and gave it to YouTubers so that they could make money on it on their channels instead of using it for taking care of these drug kingpins. That's what they did with it. Now, in this summer, when they raised the reward for Nicolas Maduro again, and they again were speaking of doing something, I said, let me give them another chance. Let me give them one more try. Because I had some new information about the house where Nicolas Maduro lives. Concrete information, very detailed. The exact house, escape routes, and things like that. So I wrote that down and I sent it to Department of Justice for this reward program for Nicolas Maduro. Within 2 weeks, this information was all over the internet, and somebody said that he had got the information from the Department of Justice. Is your head exploding yet? So, when you see Trump blowing up, killing, murdering in violation of international law and national law, every law of the sea he's violating, it doesn't matter who these people in these boats are. It's illegal to kill them that way. By shooting a missile at the boat. It's illegal. So when he's doing that, it's just to distract people. To get their attention away from something else. That is why he's doing it. He has absolutely no intention of going after Nicolas Maduro or Diosdado Cabello. That is my firm conclusion based on my experience from this. Donald Trump is protecting the drug cartel. He's not going after it. He's pointing your attention to the wrong organization, and he's killing innocent civilians, because these drug traffickers are, after all, not military personnel. They're civilians. They might be terrorists, but they're still civilian. And even if they are terrorists, it's still no excuse for killing them. They can perfectly well go down with a boat and pick them up like they've always done on the Caribbean. And those militaries who are involved in giving the order and pushing the button and firing the weapon are all guilty of mass murder. There is no excuse for this under international law. The American military is being compromised and destroyed by having them commit criminal acts. And that's a sad story, but that's how these regimes operate. Now, I'm not going to go into who is behind it. You have to draw your own conclusion, because if I say it, half of my viewers will say, oh, he's a so-and-so. So I'm just going to tell you what I know, and you have to draw the conclusion. Well, I think that's long enough for now. So check out my channel, Homeros World. Homeros.world is the website. I will be revealing new information about European prehistory. Absolutely mind-blowing information that deals with something that's now safely in the past, and hopefully not as politically controversial as this. Sign off.